celebrate. They have done it.
Hi everyone, welcome back to Evermore YouTube channel. It's Chris back with a Rumour Has It video all about transfers. That's right, the window is officially open. Well, the small window, the window at the back that you can just see out of. It's only open for 10 days, and it's a weird thing, but we have to get used to it. But Newcastle United are already being linked to loads of players coming in, but there's also some links today to players going out. I'm going to get stuck right into this right now. I'm not sure how viable this one is going to be. Certainly the local journalists seem to think that he's going to be here next season, but Nick Pope has been linked with a move away from Newcastle United today to Leeds United. Apparently are interested in Nick Pope. Now, for many reasons, that's a good move for Leeds because they want to stay in the Premier League. I think their current number one is at Meslinet. He's made a couple of high-profile errors in the Championship. They may be worried about him coming to the Premier League. You make mistakes out in the Premier League and they cost you massively. You might get away with it in the Championship, but you don't get away with it in the Premier League. So Leeds United are apparently very interested in Nick Pope. What I've seen from Leeds fans' reactions on social media, they're very keen on that. They think he's a good goalkeeper. And he is. He's a very good goalkeeper. He's been in Newcastle United since 2022. He's 33 years old now. England international. Very good goalkeeper. But injuries have taken a toll on Nick. There's no doubt about it. We've seen kind of 2 or 3 different sides of Nick Pope this season. The injuries have come back. He's looked rusty and rickety at times, but he finished this season strong. And that's why I'm not sure whether this is actually going to happen, because Newcastle have about, 95 goalkeepers right now. I don't think Nick Pope is one that Eddie Howe wants to get rid of. Now, the links to James Trafford are there, and they won't go away. The John Garcia links that we said were all just agent-driven to try and push a move for the player who looks like he's going to go to Barcelona. So it looks like it worked, to be fair. And content creators like me have obviously played a part in talking about it as well. So for shame us lot, we should know better than to drink the Kool-Aid so quickly. But we're so desperate for transfers. That's why we get all excited about it. You know, Mark's super-duper stack computer starts smoking at the screen, mainly because it's too old, but because he gets excited about the stats as well. But look at this whole situation about Nick Pope. Now, Nick Pope's currently on holiday because of a social media sleuth that took a picture of him on the plane to Portugal. But in the words of Bricktop, he's not exactly inconspicuous, is he? He's a big unit, so he's quite easy to find, to be fair. But Nick Pope is enjoying his holiday somewhere. I'm pretty sure that Nick Pope is going nowhere, and I'll tell you my reasons why. Because I think getting James Trafford in is very, very likely and very plausible. And there's another player being linked to Burnley, which I think will be part of the Trafford deal. I'll talk about him in a second. But I think the reason that Pope will stay, because as good as Trafford has looked in the Championship, jumping to the Premier League is a huge step up. And I don't think they'll throw him straight in the sticks as a 23-year-old starting number one goalkeeper. And what better keeper to learn off than Pope in terms of the similar frames? Obviously, Trafford's way better than with his feet. He's more of a modern goalkeeper. But in terms of your positional sense, you know, marshalling your back four, you know, your catching, your shot stop and that kind of a thing. I can see Pope being almost a mentor to Trafford to allow him to kind of bleed in his first season. And then when he takes the number one jersey, Pope will move on to another club at 34 years old at that point and still very young for a goalkeeper. But I'd be very surprised if Newcastle move on. The only reason I think that might happen is that maybe Nick Pope fancies his chances of making the World Cup squad if he's a starting number one somewhere guaranteed week in, week out. His contract expires in June next year. So I think that will probably be lucky if we get 10 to 15 million for Pope, but that could be one to look at. But I think it's more likely that maybe Vlachodimos or Dubravka even goes before Nick Pope in my eyes. But let us know in the comments below what you guys think about Nick Pope and whether you think an exit will be on the cards. And would you be happy to see James Trafford as your number one and see Pope move on and wish him well? He's been brilliant for us, Pope, since he come in. We needed an improvement on Dubravka, and he gave us that. There's no doubt about it. You know, we've played some of our best football and had some of our best league finishes with Nick Pope between the sticks. But Father Time is catching up on him in a little bit. And I think there has been some restricted movement, shall we say, since he's come back from injury. But I would rather have Nick Pope here next season, personally, as a mentor for Trafford, help him through a tough jump up from Championship to the Premier League, if indeed we do sign James Trafford. Now on to the sought-after young goalkeeper. So there's no surprise, there's no secret we're after him. You know, there's talking about, moves are going to happen in the next few days. That could be when Newcastle want to wrap up really, really quickly. Now, Matt Targett has apparently been linked to a move to Burnley. Scotty Parker fancies Matt Targett, and in many ways, that's a good move, you know, for Burnley as well. Matt Targett, if you can keep him fit, is a really steady Premier League left-back. He was excellent when he came to us on loan from Aston Villa. But since he kind of made the move permanent, it's not really quite worked for Matt. Injuries have massively curtailed him. He lost his place to Dan Bird at left back. And then obviously we've got Lewis Hall, who has come out and been brilliant. And Lewis Hall, I think, is going to have a mint season next season and show everyone he's England's #1 left back and one of the best left backs in the league. But Matty Targett to Burnley could be part of the Trafford deal. Now, we get very little for Matty Targett. I think Mark checked and he's got something like 99 minutes in the last 2 seasons or something. That shows you how much football Matt Targett has missed. But he's a very experienced Premier League player, and that's what Burnley need to fill their team with. Last time Burnley came up, they very much kept the squad that got them up, and company played the way he wanted to play. And as good as it was in the Championship, and open and expansive and exciting, he got ripped to pieces in the Premier League, and that massively did into Trafford's development, I think, as well. And that's why he ended up losing his place at the end of the season, because I think they were just desperate to try and do something to stay up. But I think this time around, Scotty Parker might try and fill that Burnley squad with at least 3 or 4 really experienced Premier League players with a bid to stay up in the league, and that could be someone like Matt Targett, who could form part of the Trafford deal. Now, it sounds like Burnley want about 30 million quid for him, but by all accounts, Newcastle are willing to pay that, and maybe that might lead to a move for Pope moving, getting 15 million back in the coffers. I don't know, but they'll be lucky if they get 5 million for Targett. So they put Targett in as part of the Trafford deal, 25 million plus Targett. I can see that very much coming off. But there's loads and loads of links to players coming in and going out as well. We've still got Sean Longstaff on the cards, Callum Wilson, we don't know what's happening there, but this little mini window might see some movement from Newcastle. I hope anyway. You know, the noise of Bruno Fernandes potentially going to Saudi. Thanks for that, PIF, by the way. If Manchester United are on with 100 million, they could maybe beat us to Brian and Burma, which I really, really don't want. So Newcastle really need to get these moves done quick. You know, according to some journalists like Luke Edwards, he's saying they're going to get 2 starting 11 players that automatically boost their first team squad, and then 2 young players. So if you want to speculate, you know, Mark Gahey and Burmo, Trafford, and then another, you know, that could be a brilliant window for Newcastle. But we need to start making moves pretty sharpish, I think, because other clubs will be doing the same as well. But let us know in the comments below what you guys think about the potential exits of Nick Pope and Matt Targett. Would you be sad to lose either, or would you think that this is just a natural progression for Newcastle? We do need to move players out. I mean, the only stumbling block for the Trafford thing might be the 80 grand or 90 grand reportedly he's on a week. Wow, his agent definitely earns that crust. There's no doubt about that. But I think he's going to have to take a pay drop, Matt Targett, if he wants first team football. But I can definitely see him being part of that Trafford deal. But let us know what you think about Trafford coming in, potentially Pope and Targett going out. It's all speculation right now, but hopefully Newcastle will get some early moves done and get us ready for that next season, which is going to be full of football, Champions League, Premier League, the domestic cups. We want to have a strong season with a squad we could rotate. We didn't do it last time. Injuries bit. We struggled in both the league and the Champions League. We can't make the same mistakes again. Thanks for watching, guys. Remember to like and subscribe. Help get us to 10,500 subscribers, then on to 11. We'll be back with some more transfer banter soon. Have a belter. We'll see you later. Cheers.
Heroes celebrate. They have done it.